Oh boy, there goes another franchise just like that. Just went up in smoke, just like that. I've got about 2,000 hours in Civilization 5 and about 1,000 hours in Civilization 6. So I love the Civilization series. I played maybe about 600 hours of Civ 4, and I have Civ 1, 2, and 3 on my PC. And I just knew Civ 7 was going to be a disaster judging by Civ 6, but I really wanted it to be a sequel to Civ 5, not Civ 6, but no, they doubled down on Civ 6 mechanics and made it worse. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. Apparently, Civilization 7 is woke slop for a modern audience. Moderators are banning folks for mentioning woke. You know when Dr. Disaster's talking about it, it's a fucking disaster. Let's go. Let's jump right into it.
What's up, space pirates? This is your admiral, the dread pirate Dr. Disaster. And one of the most terrible things to witness is when someone fails, like the folks who made Civilization 7, and then they throw a little fit. And make no mistake, at this point, Civilization 7 appears to be a certifiable failure. I mean, just compare the numbers that we see on Steam between Civ 7 and its predecessor, Civilization 6. At its peak, the highest concurrent player count for Civ 7 is about 84,000. I gave them too much credit when I was...
That's still quite a lot. Way more than Avowed by like 10 times.
Discussing this game last week, I said that when they got their first full weekend under their belt after release, that I expected them to at least beat Dragon Age the Veilguard and get about 100,000. That still would have been way worse than the numbers on their last game, where they topped out at around 162,000. But
what about Civ 5? What are the numbers like for Civ 5? Because that game was incredible from the start. As soon as you start a game, it is 10 out of 10 for me, at least. Maybe 9 out of 10 for me, because there's still some stuff like it gets really, really hard if the map isn't perfectly like you need when it starts. Like if you don't start in a desert, I'm restarting. I gotta start at least next to a desert.
But suffice to say, Civ 7 appears to have a lot fewer players this time around.
Oh shit.
Now, there's a combination of things that are potentially driving away players. The review scores for the game are pretty bad, with only about 51% giving them a positive review.
I was looking forward to this game until they said that they were going to make the civilizations change over time, where you have to pick a new civilization, which is similar to Civ 4, where you had to pick a new form of government. But I don't get changing the civilization from Washington to Harriet Tubman. That makes no sense. Harriet Tubman never took over the United States, and that's just an American switching to an American, because you can like switch to Germany. You can from what I gathered, you can switch to pretty much any civilization that you want. I don't know. Maybe it's not. It sounded kind of cool at first.
Those are going to be your hardcore, die-hard Civilization fans who wouldn't badmouth the series no matter what. Everyone else is complaining about the horrible UI and the general state of the game being unfinished. That's definitely driving people away.
Oh no, it's unfinished? I didn't even know that it was unfinished. That's craziness. And I don't really care about the UI stuff because mods exist. You can just fix that. I'll probably pick up Civ 7 in about 3 years when they start talking about Civ 8 coming out, and I'll get it with all the DLC complete for like $10. That's all it's worth to me.
Word of mouth is powerful, but other people dislike how the game is apparently woke, and they're saying piss off to this game.
Just give me a chance! Just give me a chance!
No thanks, bro.
And here's where shit gets really embarrassing for Civilization 7. It looks like the moderators for the game have started banning people for complaining about Harriet Tubman being usable as a leader, because naturally, that is what these cowards do. That's practically the whole point of using characters like...
Don't you just love when a game that's based around governments censors you? Isn't that neat? That's what governments do. They're just acting like the government that controls the governments.
Like this, because if you criticize them, then they can just call you a racist or a sexist or whatever. These characters make wonderful human shields, but there are some valid criticisms about what they've done with Civilization 7 and the leaders in the game, and calling Civ 7 woke is not a stretch. It's certainly not the worst offender ever, but there's certainly a case to be made. And these
it's definitely not obvious like it is with Avowed and Veilguard. But, you know, even if it's got 2% woke, I ain't touching it until there's mods to take it out. And I guarantee you they're not going to be on Steam and they're not going to be on Nexus. Everybody needs to stop using Nexus, by the way. Find somewhere else to post your mods, man, because censorship, that's not it. That ain't it, man. Who cares if we got Trump mods? I want to be able to play as Trump. I want to play as Trump. I want to play as Hitler. I want to play as some of the worst people or allegedly the worst people ever. Not saying that Trump is, but people think that he is, and I would love to play as Trump.
Community managers implementing the bans are only lashing out because deep down they know the truth, that Civ 7 is a dog shit game that deserves the criticism that it's getting.
You suck!
Yeah, you should definitely subscribe to this guy. He's awesome. Dr. Disaster.
Alright, me hearties, make sure you smash the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already.
Smash
We
it
just
and
crossed
subscribe.
Another subscriber
I can't believe I wasn't.
milestone, so it is time to ask the obligatory question.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
We've just passed 121,000 space pirate a-holes in our Buccaneer crew, and as is the custom on this channel, with every 1,000 subscribers, we add a new ship to the fleet in order to house the newcomers. This time, one of you guys recommended the Roger Young from Starship Troopers, which you can see flying around up here.
Dude, let me show you something. I got a lot of books. I read a lot. Okay. Starship Troopers is a 3-in-1. It's got The Moon is a Harsh Mistress and Time Enough for Love by Robert A. Heinlein. Love it. I haven't read Starship Troopers in a long time. I'll probably check it out soon after I get done with Ringworld. I don't know why I'm showing you books. I've got like 30 just around me. Love Starship Troopers, man.
But if you have any suggestions for future ships, drop them into the comment section and I will add them to my long list. Super chats get bumped to the top of the list with the other super chats, and also, for your reference, I've added an alphabetical list of the ships already in the fleet to the description of this video. But in any case, I appreciate everyone being here and I will do my best to continue to earn your viewership.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
But alright, let's talk about Civilization 7 and how the game definitely sounds like there were some pretty woke elements in it. Now,
Is this Civilization 7? It doesn't look like... Yeah, it has to be, because it doesn't look like any other ones. It looks like Civ 5 right here. Looks a lot like what I wanted it to look like. But the mechanics, I don't know about.
just to be clear, I suspect that the primary reason the game is floundering so badly at this point is because it is getting reviewed so poorly by the die-hard Civilization fans. The main complaints that the UI is bad and that the game is unfinished, those are pretty damning complaints. Other than Harriet Tubman being added to the game as a leader, which is a whole lot of pandering, there hasn't really been a consensus as to why the game is potentially woke. But there are definitely some things which make me say, hell no. First of all, apparently
Let's get to
when
it.
you load in as America in this game, they give a little lecture on how the westward expansion was them taking away indigenous people's lands. So that's insufferable as hell. But this person here who posted this on X,
Yo, that is actually crazy that they're like, oh, America bad. Like these tribes weren't also bad, like eating each other, warring with each other, warring with white people. Disgusting. And you could have made some bad leaders and lectured with those bad leaders and also had good leaders as the leaders of America. You don't have to use like all bad leaders for America. Ridiculous, man. Oh, they didn't. They didn't use all bad leaders because you got Harriet Tubman in there.
does a nice job of articulating the biggest problems with the game from the perspective of woke being in it. This person wrote, "The primary issue with Civ 7 is that it's being used to destroy the concept of the nation state. Sure, having Harriet Tubman as the American leader and the focus on historically irrelevant leaders to promote lesser-known stories is woke, and the map generation is awful, but people would have lived with that. The real issue is that in all previous Civ games, you pick a civilization such as the Romans, the British, or the Incans, and you play as them throughout the ages. You play as a nation. You pick one you have an affinity for, and you LARP as them."
Can you not pick Genghis Khan and pretend you're Genghis Khan and just wipe everybody out and take them over? Can you not do that? Or are we going to make him out to be a good guy too? No, actually, he was doing this for everybody's own good.
Civ 7 has changed this fundamental aspect of the game in that now there are 3 ages. You may play as Rome in the first age, but come the second age, you are forced to choose a new leader from a new Civ. The Mongols, for example. Now you are no longer playing as Rome. You are playing as a multicultural Roman-Mongolian post-national state. Come the third age, you choose again, say Prussia. Now you have a Prussian leader ruling over your Roman-Mongolian Prussian multicultural post-national state.
What happened to history? It was historical and you played like you were playing through history. You didn't have to, but this is just making stuff up as you go. This is really, really dumb and it makes no sense.
Humankind, a failed Civ-like game, tried this gimmick first and flopped. Civ has adopted it because it enforces neoliberal, multicultural values while removing any sense of nationalism from a game previously built around the nation. There is no other way to play Civ 7. This is why I and many others will not buy or play Civ 7.
Me neither, man. Actually, I changed my mind. If they don't put in a new game mode where they change this and put in some good new leaders, which I could see them doing because this game is failing so hard, but that new game mode, I don't know. They need a new game mode that's like the old Civ, where you play as one nation throughout all the ages.
And yes, this gimmick seems pretty damned propagandistic. It seems like they're trying to push this whole melting pot concept into history, which simply isn't historically accurate and takes you out of the LARPing experience. I'm a big fan of Age of Empires 2. I have played that game off and on for literal decades now. I'm not really good at it, but I like playing, and I can tell you right now that it would completely take me out of the experience if, whenever I entered a new age, I had to select a different empire to play as. So, there are definitely some legitimate criticisms of the game from a culture war perspective, no doubt about it. But the mod...
It maybe would make sense if they did it kind of like Civ 4, where the cultures would mix and not well, and then you'd have rebellions, and that would force your government to change. That'd be cool, but you're still the same civilization.
They ain't having it. As you can see in this post here, it looks as though the moderators for Civilization 7 are banning people for speaking about the Harriet Tubman inclusion. It seems like they're being pretty thin-skinned. This is basically them throwing a fit because they don't want to be called out for their pandering BS. But I gotta say that I think Civ 7 is simply lucky that the anti-woke movement...
You're pandering, Dr. Disaster. What is his name? Yeah, Dr. Disaster. You're pandering. That's what I keep getting told whenever I'm like, they're pandering. They're like, you're pandering. I'm like, no, I'm actually speaking my mind, you fucking imbeciles.
Got to this game pretty late. A lot of the elements that make it objectionable from a culture war perspective are a bit
Stop trying to change my shit, man. I like my shit the way it was. I like normal stuff.
in the weeds, so to speak.
I want Gandhi to be dropping nukes on everybody. I heard that that's not even a thing anymore.
They're a bit tough to explain in just a sentence or two, as you can tell from this post here that I read. So, rather than let people start discussions on this topic, it seems that the community managers for Civ 7 are ripping this sort of conversation out root and stem, because with as bad as their player numbers are already, the last thing they can afford is more controversy being stirred up. But I don't think that this sort of behavior will save them in the slightest, because the negative reviews are insurmountable. In the week leading up to the game's release, parent company Take-Two released their financial report where they discussed the pre-orders for the game, saying that it was record-breaking for the franchise, and they said that player sentiment was extremely positive. So that tells you everything you need.
Dude, stop pre-ordering games. This is why you should not pre-order games, because they come out a buggy mess and woke. All of them. Every single one of these games that push the pre-orders. Stop pre-ordering games. I wish companies were just not allowed to set pre-orders. You know what's even worse than pre-orders? Early access. I don't think this one had it, and that's good.
Need to know about how these big corporations are either lying through their teeth or they're just plain old disconnected from reality. Either way, the game is underperforming, and I think it's hilarious to see, especially with all of these woke elements that we're learning about. But I'm going to leave it there. Drop your mockery for Civilization 7 into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching me, Hearties.
Dude, all these games that I used to love, they got taken over on purpose by people who go down these insane leftist rabbit holes on social media, and people just sucking each other off. I hate it so much. I just want normal games again. I can't wait for in a couple years, all these terrible shit woke games are going to have mods that make them normal. Unless they're just too bad. People don't care about them. Like Starfield. That one's not exactly woke. It's got woke stuff in it. But it's a really, really bad game nobody wants to make mods for. And that's just really sad. Because it was a really, really cool concept. I'm done with it. I'm done with all these games. I'm just gonna keep making my money talking about how shit they are. And they're just gonna all keep collapsing. And I'm not buying their products. And you shouldn't either. I'm just going to stick to my old games, and I'm going to stick to games like Baldur's Gate 3, which it's got some woke stuff in it, but it's hidden. You don't got to see it. You can skip right past it, man. And I love that kind of stuff. I don't care if you got gay stuff in the games. Just stop trying to take over with gay ideology and trans ideology. There's always been gay stuff in games and movies and shows, but it was never like trying to lecture you on it. And I don't like being lectured. I'm so glad all these games and all these companies are failing, man. So awesome. You love to see it because it was just rampant for so long. And now they're starting to realize that it doesn't work. Even Disney pulled a bunch of their DEI woke nonsense out of all of their products. Walmart. It's almost over. I'm just worried about what the next iteration of this kind of stuff is. Because first it was feminism, now it's just straight up wokeism. What's next? Are we gonna go? Is the pendulum gonna swing the other way, and we're just gonna have really boring, garbage games with nothing in them because everything is offensive to the right wing? We're gonna have people like wearing these giant bubble suits because you don't want to see the curves of their body. That's what the left is starting to do to these games. They're not doing it. They're going They went too far in one direction, and when you pull that pendulum all the way up, it swings back all the way up. So I'm just gonna stick to the old games, because there's no way that they're gonna be able to change those, because they're already online. Goodbye.